TCF family, join me in congratulating Early for being December's Member of the Month. Early, congrats.
Thank you. This is such an honor. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, tell the people a little bit about yourself. What's your general bio or whatever?
Okay. So my name is Early. There's lots that goes along with that. I'm sure we'll get to that eventually. I have 4 kiddos. Been married to my awesome husband Chris for 22 and a half years. From Virginia, went to Virginia Tech. Go Hokies. Love all things athletics. Love being a sports mom. So much fun. And I'm a nutrition coach. I used to be a former fitness instructor, and I was formerly in the pharmaceutical industry too, but now I love working on my own.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. And then you usually attend like the 7:30, 8:30 class, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. And so we'll go with your name. We'll go ahead and get that out of the way. How did you, I guess I'm assuming your parents gave you your name, right? So
yes.
Why'd they decide Early?
So my sister's name is Amanda. Go figure, right? But I'm the oldest. My name's Early because my dad went to school with someone with that name, and my mom loved the name. And my maiden name is Easley. So say that 10 times
early,
fast.
Easley, early, Easley.
Yeah. You be careful because your tongue will say something different. So you have to be careful.
And so, I mean, I know I make a couple of puns and stuff like that with your name. How often do you get like puns about you being late or being early or something like that?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day, especially if I'm meeting someone new, or heaven forbid I come in a few minutes late, then it's like, Early, you're late, and it's ongoing. But when I was little, I used to tell my mom, I'm changing my name because who names their child Early? I hate it because people would pick on me, but it never, actually I love it as an adult, and then being in sales, it's wonderful because
it's a good conversation starter.
Yes, and you have to be positive, you have to be good, because if not, they're going to remember your name. So I'd rather them remember me for something that I did well as opposed to something different.
Yeah.
So that kind of set the standard for me to make sure that, hey, you know what, people are going to remember me, so I want it to be good.
Yeah, and at least it's it's an easy way, like do a conversation starter or start off with a pun or whatever, even though it's probably one you've already heard.
Oh, yes, every day.
Has there been one that it was like really unique, like a pun that was really unique that you're like, oh, that was actually good? Or
I don't think so. I think after this many decades, I feel like they all, there's a lot of repeaters in there. Yeah, they all string together.
Yeah. And so I know we were talking about like your career and stuff, and then you talked about if you could change your career, you'd be something fun. So like, what would that be?
Okay, so this is a fun one. So if you attend class with me, then you probably know I like to dance, and I've been known to hurt myself deadlifting because it would be a really good beat, and I tweak my back because I keep moving. But when I was younger, if I wasn't going down the professional career, I would love to have been a Janet Jackson backup dancer.
Janet Jackson backup dancer.
Do you know who that is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know who that is. I've been educated before TCF, probably not, but I've been educated since coming to the gym and stuff like that. The 8:30 and the 7:30 have schooled me.
Yes.
Mainly Jess. Every morning, especially when her and Mikhail would come in and quiz each other, they would somehow just start quizzing me.
And it's the best. I love to dance. I absolutely love it. So I may not be great at it, but I love it.
Is she like your favorite musician, or?
No, she just, at the time growing up, she had her entourage, and they had dance moves. It was great. I come from the era that hip hop was kind of born, so it was really fun to watch, and just I just love the energy.
Okay, there we go. Were you ever like a dancer? Like, did you ever dance growing up or anything?
So growing up, I alluded to this earlier before we got on camera, I grew up very poor. So no, we did not. I think I took a couple of months of dance at one point. So I never did anything professional or anything like that. But I've just always loved to dance.
Yeah. So what is your fitness background?
So I didn't get into really fitness and weightlifting until right after I graduated high school. And then I got into it, and I was surprised I was decent at it. I started weightlifting. I started powerlifting at 18, 19, and I grew really quickly. Like in weight, I was able to advance really quickly, and I realized how much I love that feeling. I love that euphoria that I felt in doing that. People talk about getting a runner's high, and I used to run a lot. I never got a runner's high, but I definitely got the weightlifting high.
Yeah, people talk about that. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't either.
Never experienced that.
But I got into weightlifting early on. Well, after high school. And then in college, I started looking at bodybuilding. I had transferred to Virginia Tech, and I worked with a lady who was bodybuilding, and she had already had children, and I was very intrigued. So I started working out a lot at Virginia Tech, preparing for a show and doing different things, and it brought my love of fitness. So now, after college, I became a fitness instructor, and then I've owned my own boot camp. I've done a variety of things in addition to my corporate career in the pharmaceutical industry. So I've always loved fitness over the last 30 years.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, you even talked about like almost competing in bodybuilding at one point. It's just you were talking about couldn't quite achieve the right I don't know, levels or whatever.
My legs would, what he's trying to say is early your thighs are thick, and what's the problem here? No, I could never get them to cut down, no matter how much I dieted in preparing for the show. So, here's the thing. I don't consider it a failure because I know how far I came in regards to my growth. And I never held that against myself. And I never want to do it again because it was absolutely miserable.
How strict that probably was.
It was incredibly strict. And it was during exams.
Oh, geez.
So there was a lot of stress, and I was working. I had to pay for college myself. So I was working a lot. It was exams. It was stress. I was doing three. I was working out 3 times a day, and it was just a whole lot going on. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? This just isn't going to happen. But I love the process. So the process was fun up until the diet.
Yeah, being super strict, you probably had to bring your own little meals to everything, stuff like that.
Can of tuna, eggs, gallon of water, everywhere I went. That's what I was doing.
Yeah. So nowadays you're not as strict or crazy about it or anything like that, right? You're enjoying life, right?
I enjoy that. I eat healthy. I do eat well, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, and just not as crazy about it, right? Yes. But I mean, you've been with the gym for about 20 months now, right? And I mean, as you said, you're not fitnessing as competitively anymore, right? Fitnessing for fun.
Fitnessing, I like that verb.
Yeah, there we go. And then mostly in the classes, you're dancing to the music, right?
Yes, I am. 7:30 a.m. Come join us. You too can dance.
Yeah. And then so kind of going back to your family life and stuff like that. I mean, one of the things the coaches want to talk about was how many kids do you have?
So my husband and I have 4 kids. We have 3 boys. They were born 1 to 3 in 3.5 years. So life was a little crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I had a health scare in which I had to have a hysterectomy. So then our 4th child is adopted. And so Victoria is from Poland. She's internationally adopted. So we have 3 boys and a daughter that completes our family.
And so was your plan all along to have 4 kids, and that's why you decided to adopt, or?
I wanted a large family. It's just my sister and I, and we're 10 years apart. So I wanted a large family. My husband said 2, so then I would say 4 to get him to 3, and then it just kept progressing that way. And we just really felt a calling to adopt. The Lord laid it on our heart, and we take very seriously, take care of the widows and the orphans in their time of need. So we began the adoption process.
Yeah, and so how was that? Was that a long, arduous process adopting? And
Yes, it took almost 3 years.
Wow.
And then, it was. We brought her home just a few weeks shy of 3 years from beginning to end. So she wasn't even born when we started the process of adoption. But
really?
And faith is a part of who. So, the Lord already had her picked out for us, and we just had to take the steps and be in action so that when she was born, and then down the road, she would be matched with us.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yes.
So did you know that you were adopting? You said Victoria, right?
Yes.
Victoria specifically, or you were just kind of starting an international adoption thing?
We started the international process, and we eventually landed on Poland because we were open to 2 girls younger than our youngest. We really wanted to keep our birth order, and there's a lot of reasons why. If you've done adoption, you kind of understand that. So we wanted to keep our birth order, and we were open to 2, and we ended up with just her, which was totally fine. But in Poland, you could adopt as many children at once, and it was one cost. Whereas many of the other countries, it was significantly more each and every one. So we were open to 2. So anyway, that's kind of how we landed on Poland.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, if you would do it again, would you? Or would you change it or anything like that? Or
it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Really?
The hardest mentally. It was faithfully, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So of course we would do it again if that's what the Lord called us to do. So we would never say never, but it was incredibly hard. And I would have had other things set in place. I was there by myself. My husband was there for a little while, but then he had to come back to the States and work.
So
I
you
was
were in
stuck.
Poland by yourself.
And I got stuck there.
Oh, wow.
So that's I've got a blog on that you guys can read at some point from years ago. It was a very emotionally difficult time. So saying, yeah, I'll do it again, it would be very, very hard. But if I would be more prepared. I was not mentally prepared.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Jeez, I couldn't imagine getting stuck somewhere and then not knowing. I'm assuming you didn't know if you were ever going to be able to come
Correct. Back. That was very hard. In a country that I spoke some Polish just in preparation.
Yeah.
And it was the coldest winter they'd had in 40 years. And I'm a summer girl. And it was just it was a very dark time.
Wow. And so when you're going through stuff like that, another thing that we want to talk about or ask you about is like, how do you always stay so positive, right? So, I mean, everybody goes through like kind of bumps in the road of life and stuff like that. So, but you seem to always come in with a very upbeat and positive attitude.
Well, thank you. Well, that was a very difficult time, so I can't say I was positive that whole time.
Right, but you were able to
outside
overcome
of that. Yes, outside of that, I feel like that's just in my DNA. That's who I've always been. I've always been happy. Although circumstances in my life were not happy, growing up was very hard. Lots of things went on there that we won't get into. But I found that, there's someone that I used to work with who used to say, when people would say, well, what good is high hopes? And you would say, well, what good is low hopes? I'd rather have high hopes, because high hopes and positivity always seems to put a smile on someone else's face. And when you can put a smile on someone else's face, you in return feel better.
Yeah.
So I love to be positive. Why be negative? I don't want to be negative. I want to be positive, because positivity it draws more positive things to your life, I believe. I'm very grateful for everything that I have and everything that I've accomplished. It just stinks to be around negative people.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be one of those people.
Yeah, at least go out there and give somebody else a reason to be positive or have a better day or something like that, right?
One of the best things you can do is figure out a way to serve. And when you figure out a way to serve, you realize how much more you're blessed. And so I serve with the youth at our church. So I work with a lot of the senior girls, I love it. We had fun just yesterday in our service, and I love working with them because I feel like it keeps me young, it keeps me positive, and we have a really good relationship I have a really good relationship with our youth, and vice versa.
Yeah. Is that something that allows you to stay positive, just that like kind of serving others sort of thing, or just like kind of giving yourself to other people sort of thing?
It absolutely does. And in the years I've grown in my faith, and that gives me great peace. And when you have that great peace, I find it so much easier to be positive. So I lean on my faith. My friends, if you've met my husband, he's hilarious. So you see there's always a lot of laughter, typically speaking. Not everything is rosy, that's for sure. But we make the best of it.
Yeah, and so like with serving others, like I'm assuming you do like mission trips, things like that.
Yes. So over the years, I have done mission trips. Probably my favorites were when I went to Haiti. I went to Haiti 6 weeks after the earthquake on a medical mission trip. The only medical ties I had was in the pharma industry. So I went and I dispensed. I'm not a pharmacist, but in Haiti you can be. I was dispensing medications through our mission, and it was 6 weeks after the earthquake, and I have so many pictures of these people who had absolutely nothing smiling. And there's one kid, I'll never forget his face. I might get emotional. I'll never forget his face. He sat there and he just had the biggest smile, and he just kept laughing. But most of these people had never seen a camera. They had never seen a phone.
Wow.
Right? So you're doing this and you're trying to show them. Some had never seen their reflection, their face. It was just very emotional, very moving. And to be able to go and serve was just so honoring.
That's crazy.
And scary, because I didn't know a soul on the mission trip. I just went totally out of faith. With a group from Durham, I went totally out of faith, and it was an incredible experience.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. And you didn't get stuck there.
Nope, didn't get stuck there. Either time that I went, didn't get stuck there. But no, it was just a great experience, and I encourage my children to do the same, to go and serve. They haven't been on a mission trip yet, partially because when they came of age, we were in lockdown, we were in COVID.
Yeah.
But there are plans for this coming summer for them to go and serve.
Something.
Yes, one of them did go serve in Nicaragua, and that was incredible for him, my oldest, Aiden.
Oh, wow.
And hopefully Jonah will go to Guatemala this coming summer.
Okay, cool. And I guess, are they going down there to I'm assuming they're not doing similar things. They're not
No.
doing pharma stuff, but maybe like rebuilding things or things like that, or
wherever they need. It's mostly going to be a faith-based outreach. Aiden's was a faith-based outreach.
Okay.
And I'm sure they did some projects as well when he went. We will do some projects in this coming summer, but it's primarily a faith-based outreach.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. I'd love to go down there and see what that would be like.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully an earthquake down there doesn't happen again or whatever.
Right.
But maybe I can go down there and help out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But kind of going from those challenges and stuff and talk about your just fitness challenges. We'll take a little turn.
Yeah. Got deep. Sorry.
Yeah. No. But what was your absolute biggest challenge prior to joining the TCF family?
So I will say, just prior to joining, the reason that I actually came here, and it'll kind of tie in, was I was looking for a gym that wasn't shut down during COVID, or that I didn't have to wear a mask. And that was a big thing for me. I have a heart rate condition, blah, 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 all that type of stuff. So that's also been something that I've needed to overcome. But I had shoulder surgery.
You say that 5 times fast.
I know, right? It's like my name. I had shoulder surgery not too many years ago, and I still had very limited mobility. I think I had told myself some things too, therefore I was always kind of babying it. Like I had this whole mental hang up about it, and I really wanted to come somewhere. I love lifting back in college. I loved it a lot, and I wanted to come somewhere where, as a trainer, I didn't want to train myself. I wanted to be trained, and I wanted to learn things that maybe I didn't work out quite this way. And so that's why those were my challenges coming here. Shoulder, mentally and physically speaking, and I want it to be with community.
Yeah, and then how that like shoulder surgery stuff make you feel, right? I mean, you said you were telling yourself that maybe you couldn't do certain things or whatever. Did it make you feel any type of way?
Well, it really ticked me off because I'm very competitive. In case you didn't know, I used to be very competitive. I'm not as competitive now as I used to be, but it just made me feel like I wasn't myself. I couldn't do things again, and that's just not someone I like. I don't like to adopt that mindset, and so I was having a really hard time breaking out of that mindset, which is why I knew if I came here, it would hopefully kick in some of my old things that I used to do that were good for me.
Right, and not overdo it or anything.
Not overdo it, right.
Yeah, and then did you see that change where you saw like the shoulder strength come back and mobility and ability come back?
And I could trust it again. So that was my big thing. Initially, I couldn't trust it because it would give out on me. So I was really scared about doing things overhead and what was going to happen. And then as it got stronger and stronger, I could do those moves, and it just gave me more confidence, helped me mentally to get over them. I worked with a PT that also goes here, and he really helped me see, no, your strength, it's stronger than you think it is.
Yeah.
And it really helped me get over some humps.
Yeah, and then if you do feel like that, let's say there's snatches or whatever that are maybe not feeling so great on it that day, then you can always adjust it or whatever,
and I do.
Right?
I do adjust. I still adjust, and I had to get to a point in my mind that I was okay
with adjusting,
with success options. That's what I call it.
Success options. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Hey, it's like the mindset or whatever, right? It's not I'm scaling the workout. I'm just tailoring it for my abilities right now, so I can continue to move and be smart and not hurt yourself.
Exactly. I'd rather move at a lesser weight than injure myself.
Right. Move for the long term than win this workout.
Exactly.
Essentially, right?
Yes.
And then I guess any other positive impacts that you've seen since working out at TCF? I know you talked about like the shoulder stuff. Anything else, maybe like with the community or anything like that?
I love the community. So the community, and that's one of the reasons, we come here with goals in mind, physical goals and things like that, but the community is really why I stay, because I love the community. If I'm not in class for a while, somebody's like, where are you? Where have you been? I'm hearing from friends. There's a Bible study that meets here, that we don't meet here, but that has formed from this group. And it's just awesome, like the community, and then hitting goals, doing things I never thought I would do. I'm still not crazy about going upside down. Still not crazy about that, but we'll work on that.
Tried,
but
right?
I try.
You've attempted.
Yeah, I will do it. But I totally surprised myself because I've never done a rope climb in my life. And now one simple thing that showed me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm climbing more than halfway, a little more than halfway every single time. So I'm really excited about that you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you can learn anything, right? As long as you're open-minded and you're listening and stuff like that, right? But I mean, it's cool to see maybe what you thought you couldn't do, and now you're able to do it, and then you keep working at it, and you'll be able to go all the way up on the rope, right?
I'm really looking forward to being able to do toes to bar and to do the kipping pull-up, and I know that's a mental thing. I just have to get my rhythm down.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of, like with everybody, it's overthinking it.
Yeah.
Right. Got to simplify it as much as you can.
But I'm still here, and I'm still working towards it.
Exactly.
So that's good.
Exactly. Right. And then anything that you want to say to somebody on the fence about joining?
Oh my goodness. If you're on the fence about joining and you're watching this, get your butt down here, come to a class, see what it's about. You're going to feel the energy. You're also going to see whether you are just starting out brand new or maybe you're seasoned at fitness. There's something for everyone. And the community can't be beat. I'm telling you, it is such a wonderful thing to be here and hear your teammates cheering you on, no matter your skill level. I love that. We're always like, great job. You did an awesome job. And I love that. So stop being on the fence. It's time to make a choice and come down and join us.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Early, for taking a little bit of time out of your day to highlight your story to everybody and stuff like that. And congratulations on being December's Member of the Month.
Yay!